Hello, Laurel. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey Mel, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. And welcome to all of our viewers out there. I'm Mel Butcher. I'm a co-host inside the Lead to Soar network on the Lead to Soar podcast and for the Lead to Soar Summit, which is part of what we'll talk about here today. I am joined by licensed professional engineer Laurel Rowse. Laurel, could you just introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about who you are and maybe a little bit about your career path.
Sure. Well, my name is Laurel, and like Mel mentioned, I'm a professional engineer, licensed professional engineer in Mississippi and Texas. I've been practicing for over 10, or I've been in the field working as an engineer for over 10 years, and I work in the field of drinking water and wastewater treatment. I've worked in private engineering consulting firms, professional services industry, and I've also worked in state government right now. I work for Mississippi Department of Health.
Great. And so you and I have been acquainted for quite a while. We met in school, and you've been one of the most involved participants inside Lead to Soar. I wonder if you could speak just a little bit to how do you perceive the work in Lead to Soar maybe to be different, and why has that mattered for you and your career path?
Yeah. So I see Lead to Soar as a couple of things. First of all, it's a peer network. It's a network of women who are ambitious business women and who want to move up in their career path and have their own career that soars, but also help other women to have a career that soars. And so, what do we mean by that? It means what you want it to mean. So, if you want to lead an organization at the very highest level, that may be your goal. And someone else may say, I want to move up to one level above where I'm at right now. And then I want to stay there. And that's my goal. It's up to your goal as to what your career path may be. And so I see it as a peer network, and I also see it. We also have a number of great co-hosts. Mel, you're one co-host. Michelle Redfern, Susan Colantuno, Amal Youssef are also co-hosts, and they all bring you all bring a level of expertise that is just fantastic. You all have different backgrounds and are able to bring that expertise to the group. And we have a number of live events. The in-person summit is one, and we also have live calls every week where we have a chance to ask questions and receive coaching or teaching feedback on, maybe something related to your career, or it may be something along outside of work, so to speak. But anything is welcome for a question in the network. So I recommend highly to join the Lead to Soar group if you're not already a member.
Yeah. Thank you for the plug, Laurel. So you have been really active and really steeped in the things that we teach in Lead to Soar. So for our new viewers out there, and to re-emphasize for folks who've been around a while, the foundation of our work is really built on Susan Colantuno's years of research and the book that she published called No Ceiling, No Walls. And in that, she talks about this, like what I like to call a holistic definition of leadership. And there's three parts. So there's the part about your own greatness, your personal greatness, your attributes that you bring to the table. There's leadership about engaging other people, engaging the greatness in others, whether that's team members and team building or something external like stakeholders or clients. And then there's the third pillar of leadership that we really focus on, which is business, strategic, and financial acumen. The
Mhm.
reason that we focus on that, and this is for viewers, Laurel's already an expert. The reason we focus on that in Lead to Soar is because that is the area where women are typically under mentored and under guided. So business, strategic, financial acumen, where women are under mentored, and it's also the same skills that are most important when it comes to advancing to higher levels of leadership. So Laurel, you came in years ago and really took this information in and embraced it. Talk to us about how this sort of paradigm and support associated with it, how has this changed the way you've approached your career path?
Yeah, I think um, so. I've really in the past since I've joined Lead to Soar have focused on building my skill set in business, strategic, and financial acumen. Um, I would say that it is definitely a game changer as far as like real recognizing what it's going to take to get to the next level, but not just to the next level, even higher than that, because what it takes is your knowledge of the business, what you're doing. And I work in state government right now, so it's not necessarily business for me right now, but knowledge of the outcomes that we're focused on as a state government agency. And those are different than they would be at a private firm. um, and also strategic and financial acumen, that is um, across the board applicable, whether you work in state government or whether you work in private business. I think it has been a game changer just to recognize that it's not about what you typically hear in leadership advice, like, okay, build your confidence, or get a mentor. All of these things you hear in traditional leadership training, or what women are told that's necessary for moving up the ladder. It's not true. um you know so that's why I really think that learning about these concepts, where we're talking about the definition of leadership by Susan defined. um that's why it's really important to get acquainted with this idea, this concept, but then also like really go deep and look at where your skill set is lacking, and to hone up those skills. And it's a process. It's not done. You may be studying business acumen, but you study it the rest of your career.
Right.
So yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, I want to ask another question before we go to the summit. I realize we'll go over time just a little bit here. Um, help us see a little more granularly an example of where
Mhm.
you have applied one of these concepts. So, I see you from the
Sure.
outside, and I know
Yeah.
that you have advanced a lot in your career. I mean, you've moved up so quickly in spaces like consulting. You are an excellent project manager. You're a people manager. So tell us about an instance of applying one of these pieces of business, strategic,
Yeah.
or financial acumen.
Excuse me. Well, I have recently, I would say, leveled up in my skill set for strategic networking. So I've been a good net. I would say I have been a skilled networker for quite a while. You know, I've worked in 3 states and actually went to school in a fourth, and I'm from a fifth, so I've lived in many states. And you know, being able to enter into a different physical location in perhaps a different company and build your network there locally is really important. So I've been skilled in that for quite some time, but recently I took that to the next level where um, I was networking with a couple of specific goals in mind. So, you know, um, I wanted to meet, uh, you know, a specific person for a specific reason, and I did not have any primary connections to that person. So first, I put a couple of feelers out to, you know, 3 or 4 people in my network that I thought might know the person, and it ended up it was a third connection. So you know, one person introduced me to their connection. That was my second, and that person ended up introducing me to a third connection, who was the person that I wanted to meet for a specific purpose. So that was an example of we talk about strategic networking in Lead to Soar, and what that is. It's exactly what I did was networking with a specific goal or a couple of goals in mind. And so, you know, talking with other people is helpful in how to go about that. But also, I mean, just being really uh, um, generous also with your network. When someone asks you, "Hey, can you introduce me?" Do it, you know, because your network will be generous with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's shift a little bit now. You were one of the first attendees that we had to the summit. We're doing it again this year in Madison, July 6th and 7th. Tell people about your experience. Maybe what's something that surprised you about being at the summit? And, to give a little more context here, again, Laurel's been so involved with the network and knows certainly the foundation of everything we do and teach. So you came in already knowing quite a bit more than someone who was fresh. So tell us about your experience.
I had a great experience at the Senate. You know, I was reflecting about, you know, my time spent there and, you know, how it went. I think um, the thing that was surprising was it was a very small at the time. I mean, you know, it was an intimate group last summer, and I was surprised that for the size of the summit, the impact that it brought. And I mean, it was the best conference I attended, you know, in several across several conferences. And it was, you know, very intimate. And that surprised me. Like I could get a lot of value out of um the summit versus, you know, say a large and you know, you attend conferences for different reasons. But if you're looking for leadership specifically and to learn and grow in your skill set in leadership, this is a fantastic choice.
Excellent. Anything else that you might want to say to people who are considering attending the Lead to Source Summit or leaders who are considering sending a group of women to the summit?
I think it's a fantastic investment. You know, whether you're a company and you're thinking about sending some of your employees to the summit, or whether you're um, a potential attendee and you may even not be able to get your company to reimburse you, and you may have to, you know, front that cost yourself. I think it's a fantastic investment if you're able to do that, because it you will get a lot out of it, and I think, you know, you will be able to grow your career goals with that investment.
Yeah, and we haven't really talked about this, but I'm going to go out on the limb here and say that Michelle and I are confident in our promise in delivering something impactful that's going to help attendees with their career, even to the extent that I would say the advancement that you can get if you come in and learn and apply these things is going to far exceed the cost of attending by a large margin. So we feel
I would agree with that. Either advancement, you know, opportunities, or other means. I would say you would definitely recover that.
Yeah. I'm glad you say that and feel that way, Laurel. So okay, that's my questions for today. So Laurel, thank you so much for joining us, for sharing your experience in the network and at the summit. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I look forward to seeing where your career goes from here.
Thanks, Mel.